Ramachandran. You're watching the continuous coverage of India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to the United Arab Emirates. Over the next 3 hours or more, we'll get you reports from our full complement of reporters on the ground in the UAE. And guests will be joining us to put it all in perspective for you, the viewer, so that you have a better appreciation of India-UAE relations. So whether you're joining us from India or around the world, we've got you covered. So, Prime Minister Modi is now in the UAE. He landed in Abu Dhabi at about 2:30 p.m. local time, that is 4 p.m. India time or 10:30 GMT. He was accorded a ceremonial reception. Immediately thereafter, Prime Minister Modi sat down with his host and UAE President Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan for talks. So that was a quick recap of all that's taken place so far. Now, in the next hour or so, we'll take you live to the Zayed Sports City Stadium in Abu Dhabi for the Ahlan Modi event. Now, Ahlan means hello in Arabic. Prime Minister Modi will address the Indian diaspora there. The UAE, now this might interest our viewers as well, is home to 3.5 million Indian diaspora. They are the largest ethnic community in the UAE and they account for 35% of the UAE's total population. The Ahlan Modi event will showcase India's rich cultural diversity. It will feature more than 700 artists. More than 150 Indian community groups will also take part in it. At last count, 65,000 people, I repeat, 65,000 people had registered themselves for this event. Here's what you need to know. Events such as Ahlan Modi have become a hallmark of Prime Minister Modi's foreign tours, starting with the Madison Square Garden speech in New York City in 2014 to the 2023 speech in Sydney, where Australia's Prime Minister Anthony Albanese gave Modi a rock star welcome, likening him to American rock star Bruce Springsteen. Prime Minister Modi is the boss, Albanese had said, to thunderous applause from a crowd dominated by the Indian diaspora. Now, the Ahlan Modi will mark the end of day one of Prime Minister Modi's visit. On Wednesday, he will deliver the keynote speech on the concluding day of the World Government Summit in Dubai. He will also inaugurate Abu Dhabi's first Hindu temple. The temple has been built by the Bocha Sanvasi Sri Akshar Purushottam Swami Narayan Sanstha. The UAE government allocated land for the temple during Prime Minister Modi's visit to the country in the year 2015, and he laid the foundation stone of the temple in the year 2018. All right then, let's get started. So Prime Minister Modi reached on a two-day visit to the UAE. He was warmly received by UAE's President Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan. The two leaders held bilateral talks on issues of mutual interest. Several MOUs were also exchanged during the meeting. Here's a detailed report.
India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi and President of UAE Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan sharing a hug. Prime Minister Modi was also accorded Guard of Honor upon his arrival in Abu Dhabi. After the Indian Prime Minister's arrival, a bilateral meeting was held between the UAE President and Prime Minister Modi. Several MOUs were exchanged during the meet. India's Prime Minister expressed joy over the relations between the two countries and highlighted how UPI is playing a huge role in fintech between the two countries. Indian PM and UAE President also introduced the UPI RuPay card service in Abu Dhabi.
मुझे हमेशा लगा है कि जब मैं आपके पास आया हूं, आप लोगों के बीच आया हूं, तब हमेशा लगा है कि जैसे मैं अपने ही घर में आया हूं, अपने ही परिवार के ही सदस्यों के साथ मैं मिलने आया हूं, ऐसा मैं हमेशा अनुभव कर रहा हूं। और हमारे संबंधों की गहनता ऐसी है, पिछले 7 महीने में हम 5 बार मिले हैं। ये शायद बहुत रेयर होता है। मुझे भी यहाँ 7 बार आने का अवसर मिला है। यानी ये हमारी निकटता है और हर क्षेत्र में हम लोग जिस प्रकार से आगे बढ़े हैं, और आज भारत और यूएई के बीच में हर क्षेत्र में एक साझी भागीदारी हो रही है। आज भी हम कई महत्वपूर्ण फैसले करने जा रहे हैं। हम यूपीआई मेरा और हमारा जीवन कार्ड, इन दोनों का एक प्रकार से एक नया युग शुरू हो रहा है फिनटेक का, और ये भी अपने आप में बहुत बड़ा है।
Prime Minister Modi expressed gratitude to the UAE President for the opening of the first Babs Hindu temple in Dubai. He emphasized on the strength of relations between India and the UAE with this mega event. PM Modi will inaugurate the temple tomorrow.
आपकी भारत के प्रति जो लगाव है और आपकी यूएई के उज्जवल भविष्य के लिए जो विजन है, उसका एक उदाहरण मैं देख रहा हूं। यहाँ बीएपीएस का मंदिर बनना आपके सहयोग के बिना ये संभव ही नहीं था। और मेरी पहली मुलाकात थी, मैंने सिंपली आपको रिक्वेस्ट की कि जरा आप देख लीजिए, और पलक झपकते ही आपने उसका निर्णय करके मुझे बता दिया कि आप बस जगह पर ऐसे उंगली रख दीजिए, आपको जगह मिल जाएगी। शायद इतना विश्वास, इतना प्यार अपने आप में एक बहुत ही अनोखे संबंधों की ये शक्ति को दर्शाता है।
Bharat Mata Ki Jai and Alan Modi slogans reverberated and filled the atmosphere with electrifying energy as members of the Indian diaspora welcomed Prime Minister Modi at the hotel where PM will stay during his visit. This is PM's 7th visit to the UAE. Over the last 9 years, India and the UAE cooperation in diverse sectors such as trade and investment, defense and security, food, energy security and education has grown manyfold.
The Indians who had gathered to welcome Prime Minister Modi in Abu Dhabi shared their excitement and joy with DD India's Dibyendu Mondal.
As Prime Minister Narendra Modi is all set to address the Alan Modi event in Abu Dhabi, I'm joined by this excited Indian community here in Abu Dhabi. How excited are you guys? So as you can see, the excitement in the air is palpable. Let me go and find out what preparations do they have to welcome the Prime Minister here in Abu Dhabi. What are the preparations that you have to welcome the Prime Minister?
As you know, we are gathered here for welcoming of our Prime Minister. आप हमारे चेहरों से, आप हमारी खुशियों से देख सकते हैं, आज हर दिलों में, हर किसी की ज़बान पे है ऐलान मोदी.
I'm sure people are wanting to sing. These ladies have prepared some songs for Prime Minister. What is it?
जहाँ डाल डाल पर सोने की चिड़िया करती है बसेरा, वो भारत देश है मेरा, वो भारत देश है मेरा.
We are, as you can see, we have gathered here in a big number, and Mr. Modi, you are in our hearts, right? You are in every drop of our blood, and we are here 100% ready to welcome you, see you in person. You are having a magnanimous personality. We are so impressed. Our next generation is so impressed with you, and definitely you make UAE a second home for all of us Indians. We are so proud of you.
Preparations on for welcoming Prime Minister Narendra Modi in the UAE. Of course, the main event is at the Sheikh Zayed Stadium, where he will be addressing a large gathering. Of course, over 65,000 people await to hear Narendra Modi at the Sheikh Zayed Stadium in Abu Dhabi.
All right, joining me is my colleague Meghna Dev. Meghna, give us a sense of the atmosphere inside the stadium as we speak. Give us a flavor of the excitement as well.
to the visuals, take my audience to the visuals first, because the visuals speak for themselves. A lot of excitement, performances, dance and music, all set. The stage is completely set to welcome Prime Minister Narendra Modi at the Zayed City Stadium in Abu Dhabi. And very importantly, what we also see is that a number of people have already, the stadium is quite, more than half packed, and now, people have already started coming in. All the security checks and things are going on so that, people can have a smooth way to the stadium. Besides that, what we definitely know, it's just around now 40 to 45 minutes left when Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be here at the stadium. Very importantly, this event had been planned when the diaspora wanted to welcome Prime Minister Narendra Modi. We obviously know that about 3.5 million people strong Indian diaspora live in UAE, and that definitely is one of the largest Indian expatriates living in any part of the world. So that essentially is very, remarkable. And the reason that Anil Modi, when it was announced that this community event is going to happen and registrations began for the event, there was massive excitement in people, a massive response from the people of the diaspora, and they're finally here for the day where there had been volunteers and many more people who had been practicing and, making all the arrangements, ensuring things fall in place for the event. And now finally, when we have Indian music, dance, festivals and much more, you saw on the visuals, we showed to our viewers that the visuals are speaking for themselves, that it's just a celebration of Indianness, it's a celebration of the diaspora coming together and welcoming Prime Minister Narendra Modi in UAE.
Meghna, do stay on, because I want to ask you a few more questions before we let you go. Now, I can see behind you that the weather is indeed holding up, so, nothing untoward on that front. But you spent the last few days in Abu Dhabi and Dubai. How is the Indian diaspora reacting or responding to Prime Minister Modi's visit this time?
Well, most of the people from the diaspora we spoke to have also been a part of when Prime Minister Narendra Modi had earlier also addressed a community event in Dubai. But besides that, the excitement that people have here basically speaks for itself, in the sense that people have so many things to talk about, so many things that they're also going to showcase here, the developmental journey of India. And they've also here especially excited about the Babs Hindu temple coming up, and that's something that the people are very excited about and are waiting that Prime Minister Narendra Modi is going to inaugurate the temple tomorrow. So that will be an important and very significant event. But besides that, when you actually say that the reaction from the diaspora, first, they definitely know everything or every developmental journey that India is going through. There is excitement. The people are chanting Modi, Modi everywhere. Anil Modi music is being played everywhere. So you can see that, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, whenever he is in any foreign land addressing the diaspora, it's just a similar visual. But obviously, every time it grows grander and grander. And that's just exactly what we are experiencing here at Anil Modi as well.
Also, Meghna, before we let you go, give us, our viewers, a sense of what transpired since the time PM Modi landed in Abu Dhabi, his ceremonial welcome at the airport, followed by bilateral talks with the UAE President. What were the outcome of those talks as well?
Yes, so when we actually see that Prime Minister Narendra Modi was accorded a ceremonial welcome, very warm welcome, that Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that in Hindi that it was Ushma Bhara Swagat. So we definitely see that it meant that it's a warm, very warm welcome that he received. Undoubtedly, when we did see those visuals where the President of UAE in that road show in Gujarat just a short time ago, and now Prime Minister Narendra Modi being accorded a ceremonial welcome in UAE, and the President himself receiving him, speaks volumes of where the relationship is going, speaks volumes of the uptick in the relationship. Besides that, when today's bilateral meeting happened, it is a lot to do in terms of digital infrastructure, in terms of public infrastructure as well, digital public infrastructure, which we call DPI. Besides that, fintech, obviously, the RuPay and the AANI. So the UPI and the AANI. So definitely that is something very important. Besides that, what we also see that last time around, when President Nayan was there for the Vibrant Gujarat Global Summit, the sidelines bilateral happened, and there was talks on industrial parks, food parks, renewable energy, and much more. This time around, the focus is obviously on the IMEC, the Middle East corridor. The focus is on digital infrastructure, the focus is on fintech, and also the focus is on bilateral investment treaty. That is very important. That would enable more businesses for investment in both the countries. So that is also a very essential part of what both the countries are aiming at in terms of the economic sector. Besides that, also an MOU has been exchanged on the cultural front, national archives, and more. So that speaks volumes of where the relationship is going in terms of diversified areas of cooperation.
All right, we'll leave it at that, Meghna. But I wish you could, I don't know whether you can turn around and see Mr. Vijay Chauthaiwala standing right behind you. I'm not sure whether you can speak with him, but if you can, we can give it a shot if we have the time, but maybe sometime later, but we'll get back to you on that as well. Thank you for now, appreciate it. All right, moving on, Prime Minister Modi on embarking to Abu Dhabi met with school students from the Abu Dhabi Indian School and interacted with them. He also signed a portrait which was made by a student. DD India's Diplomat Mondal caught up with the students whom PM Modi met. Take a listen.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi just interacted with these school students from Abu Dhabi Indian School here in Abu Dhabi, and I'm joined by Shaurya, with whom Prime Minister interacted, and I see the Prime Minister also put his autograph and signature with this portrait here. Shaurya, how do you feel with your interaction? What did the Prime Minister tell you?
I feel very good, and the Prime Minister told me did you make this? And then he asked which school were you from? And then he said do you want the autograph? Then I said yes, and then he signed it.
That's wonderful. Explain us what this picture is about, and how did you make it? How long did it take for you to make it?
Yeah, my father helped me with this. This is from his childhood till now with the world leaders, and this is all his schemes that he has created. And these are some slogans of him. Then these are pictures of him with His Highness Sheikh Mohammed. And then this is our photo of him.
Could come forward. It was, I saw the Prime Minister interacting with a couple of the students. The Prime Minister came and took a photograph as well. How did you feel? What was the excitement level then?
I was feeling really prestige that the Honorable Prime Minister came to us and he motivated us so that we do hard work in our life.
It was very high, and I'm very proud to have met the Prime Minister of my own country.
You can see how the students are excited to have met the Prime Minister, who interacted with them. Not just interacted, the Prime Minister also was speaking to some of these students, and in fact gave a piece of advice to these students here. In UAE, these are all Indian origin students who study at the Abu Dhabi Indian School here in Abu Dhabi, and of course their interaction with the Prime Minister will be a memorable one, and a one that they will cherish for the rest of their lives. With camera person Ravinder from Abu Dhabi, this is Diplomat Mondal for DD India.
All right, joining me is Mr. Anil Kumar Trigunayat. Mr. Trigunayat is a former Indian ambassador to Jordan, Libya and Malta. He joins us from New Delhi. Ambassador Trigunayat, welcome to this special broadcast. We are barely 40 minutes away from the much anticipated Ahlan Modi event at the Zayed Sports City Stadium in Abu Dhabi. But before we get to that, what did you make of the President of the UAE, Sheikh Al Nahyan, personally receiving PM Modi upon his arrival in Abu Dhabi?
Well, I think that this is clearly indicative of the kind of affection the two leaders have for each other and the respect for each other's country. You remember that when recently at the Vibrant Gujarat Summit, President Sheikh Zayed was the chief guest, and Prime Minister Modi had received him, and then there was a roadshow. Likewise, India has shown tremendous regard also to Sheikh Zayed himself when he was the Republic Day chief guest. and then he was invited as a special guest to the G20. So you can imagine that this is also the first time that we have seen a leader of a country visiting so many times. And this trust basically has developed and taken the relationship to a truly comprehensive strategic partnership, which encompasses nearly everything. But during this meeting, of course, Prime Minister himself said that he has met 5 times Sheikh Zayed in the last 7 months. And that's a record of sorts. And Prime Minister Modi is also very well regarded in every place, wherever he has gone in the Middle East. In fact, he is the most honored and awarded leader, I think, in the world by all these countries individually. And the UAE is very special for us in many ways, many areas. In fact, whether it is I2U2. So in the I2U2, apart from the collaborative mechanisms that were charted out, the most important thing in my view is that it was for the first time that India was getting out of its bilateral ambit towards the regional and sub-regional cooperation. That further followed by the IMEC, in which UAE is a very important part. And today one of the MOUs, an agreement, framework agreement that has been signed on the corridor within the between India and Abu Dhabi, UAE, for that particular Europe-India Middle East Europe Economic Corridor, which has been under the cloud for some time because of the Israel-Hamas war. But the fact that both the countries have shown their commitment to this corridor, there is a testament to the resolve that they have in order to make things work. And I think that's very important. Besides, the presence of Prime Minister, even for the inauguration of this temple, says a lot. It says a lot because UAE, and of course for that matter, whole of Middle East and especially the Gulf countries, there is a tremendous cultural and civilizational connect. And that civilizational connect is playing out in full swing right now, as we see today. And so, for that, I think a great credit must go for the success of this India's West Asia policy to Prime Minister Modi himself, who started off his outreach by visiting UAE in 2015. I mean, that is something that is now paying all the dividends. The relationship that moves from transactional partnership to comprehensive global strategic partnership virtually everywhere. And I think that that is something that needs to be taken care of in the area of fintech, in the area of trade agreements, in the area of using the currencies, and also within BRICS and SCO and other organizations in which India is a major partner, is also, I think, is expanding the horizons of our partnership.
Indeed.
And if you remember, Ramesh, that now these countries in the Middle East, due to the global churn that is taking place, have also moved on with this Act East policy. Act East policy is essentially that they are moving towards their markets. As the United States is perceived to be withdrawing and is becoming a competitor as far as hydrocarbons are concerned. So they are looking at their own major markets, in which India and China are the two countries that they are continuing to engage and enrich their ties. And India is a reliable country. And between the two countries also there are many forms. One of the first, I would say, was the invitation in Abu Dhabi to Mrs. Sushma Swaraj, the former Prime Minister Sushma Swaraj ji, who was our foreign minister, to address the OIC. I mean, that was a momentous event, and in which it never happened before, since 1964 that this organization was set up. So I think that UAE goes out of the purview and is trying to project itself as a power with zero problem policy with its neighbors, as well as a country which thinks in future. And in that future, India holds a great place, in my view, and for which I think the Prime Minister Modi also needs to be felicitated a great deal.
Ambassador Trigunayat, you've covered a lot of ground in that intervention of yours. You referred to the agreement signed on the occasion in Abu Dhabi. You referred to India's West Asia policy. You also gave our viewers an overview of the lay of the land, as it were, in the region, how the countries in West Asia are looking eastwards towards India in particular. We'll come to that, all of that in just a bit. But you've practiced diplomacy. You've served many decades in the Indian Foreign Service. You've served in the region as well. How much of an importance or role does personal chemistry or rapport play in diplomacy? I ask you this because, as you mentioned, PM Modi and President Al Nahyan have met, have 5 times in the last 8 months alone. How much of their personal friendship is building or adding to the strength of the bilateral ties?
Well, Ramesh, actually, I have handled this nearly 2/3 of my diplomatic career in the region. And once I was speaking with former Foreign Minister Sushma Swaraj, and I told her, I said, Madam, dealing with the Arabs is a very different ballgame altogether. It has to be a personal, one-on-one relationship, whether it is at the diplomatic official level or at the level of the leaders. So we don't need to go with an agenda or something like that. You just have to have a formal relationship that puts into the real outcomes because of the trust. Now with Prime Minister Modi, ever since he met grounds, if you remember in 2015, since then the relationship at the personal level as well as the political level, at geopolitical level also, has increased tremendously. And defense sector, there has been a tremendous collaboration in cyber, in the artificial intelligence, in the space. Name anything, and then you will find that India and UAE are collaborating in that. And of course, the peak of that can be seen in this IMEC corridor that we are now talking about, or for that matter, I2U2, one of the few small minilaterals in which there is a concrete outcome and the results that are shown. And that is because of the two countries. Now, in this IMEC, a lot of shadow has been cast, but India is continuing its part of the game, and UAE is continuing with its part of the game. It's only the outcome of the Israel-Hamas war and the status of the Palestine that will eventually determine which way Saudi Arabia eventually how it moves forward. So India has excellent relationship, comprehensive global partnership also with Saudi Arabia. So for us, I think that today our policy is, I would personally, I have watched this very closely. I have no hesitation in saying that among India's foreign policy initiatives, perhaps West Asia policy has been the grandest success.
Absolutely. And that gives me a perfect segue to my next question to you, Ambassador Trigunayat. You refer to India's West Asia policy. I have to ask you this so that our viewers get a 360-degree perspective on the issue at hand here. How would you look at the way India, especially under PM Modi, has handled its ties with West Asia, with the Arab world and the Gulf? Saudi Arabia, Iran ties, Iran-Israel ties. Would you say that Indian foreign policy has been very deft and nimble at the same time to handle these contradictions?
True, Ramesh. The only thing I would say, yes, of course, the best part about the Indian foreign policy is it is nimble-footed, no doubt. And it has become, as I say, the change, people keep on asking the question, what is the change between the previous times and now? And I think that it is probably 3 R's in my view. The robust, resilience and result-oriented, and driven by national interest. That's what the foreign policy of today can be defined. But as far as West Asia is concerned, we need to understand that it is the most important region for us. It is frankly an existential region for us, for our energy security, for our economic engagements, and for our expatriates. So in all these 3 dimensions, and the maritime routes and others are there very much. So they all are very important. So stability and security of this region is very, very important. And that's why these high-level exchanges that take place, Prime Minister talking to everybody during the Israel-Hamas war, trying to tell them that the two-state solution is very important, that the international humanitarian law should be respected, that you condemn terrorism in all its forms. So that is very clear. We have seen from the very beginning of this government, what they did was, since 2015-16 onwards, I would say, the policy has been dehyphenated, which means that every relationship stands on its own, while we have our principled approach to various issues and countries. And that's precisely what has paid off, and that's what is most of the countries understand it. This is because of that, their expectations from India have also risen a lot today. After the G20 grand success that India brought on the stage, most of these countries feel that there is a trust in India's ability to resolve their differences also. I think this is a true process, and we'll have to take over more responsibility as we move in this volatile region and try to contain its volatility as far as possible.
Absolutely. Just to recap for the benefit of viewers tuning in right now, we are barely half an hour away from the much anticipated Ahlan Modi event to be held in Abu Dhabi, where PM Modi will address the Indian diaspora in thousands who have gathered there at the Zayed Sports City Stadium. We'll get you live images from there in just a bit, but continuing a discussion with Ambassador Trigunayat. Ambassador, you spoke about how the I like the way you described India-West Asia ties in terms of the 3 Rs: robust, resilient, and result-oriented, as you said. You also referred to the 3 Es: economy, energy, and expatriate, which is why India's ties with West Asia becomes that much more important. But talking about the events of this last several hours in which PM Modi held talks with President Zayed in Abu Dhabi after landing in that city, a number of MOUs were signed, including one on bilateral investment treaty, on energy trade, on IMEC, as you mentioned, India, West Asia, Europe Economic Corridor, on a number of other agreements, including on instant mobile digital payment system of India called the UPI, Unified Payments Interface, and the RuPay credit and debit card as well. On balance, looking at the number of agreements, how would you rate the outcome of these talks?
Well, I think that, very often we tend to judge a visit by the number of documents that we sign. Personally, I don't think that's a very a good way of judging a visit. Judging the visit is that how many notches it has gone up in mutual trust and complementarity between the two countries. And that is very clearly evident, even through these documents that have been signed. And they're very important. So every single visit of Prime Minister Modi and Sheikh Zayed to India has yielded more areas for cooperation. And then the best part about these is that there is a high-level council that has been set up which reviews the progress. And that is a very important dimension. It is not that simply you sign the agreements and then you be done with it. UAE, we are seeing in real time the exchanges, as you mentioned about RuPay. If you are going on the airport and use RuPay, you can use RuPay. And now there is exchanges between the, so that there is a system like the UPI and ANI between them and the RuPay and this Jayavan or whatever it's called. There are those two card systems. Right. So, which means it's so much comfortable and easy for India. Now, many of the Indian companies, there are about 7,000 or 8,000 some companies which are operating in the country. This is a country which is our third largest trading partner. And since the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, which was a record for us, it has not happened with any other country. In 88 days, 88 pages document was finalized and signed. Indeed. And now we are going ahead with the bilateral investment protection or mutual investment treaty, which is going to be a very important, I think, for greater investments in each other's countries. And so I think that there is a lot of personal bonhomie and the matching of the complementarities and national interest that are driving this relationship to the next level.
Indeed, you've spoken about hard economic power and economic interests and strategic interests as well. Let me now dwell a bit, if you will, Ambassador Trigunayat, on India's soft power, the Indian diaspora, 3.5 million and counting in the UAE alone. How would you, rate their contribution in adding to India's profile, growing profile in the region and beyond?
Well, Ramesh, I think that the best thing is that 1/3 of the total Indian population is in fact located in UAE alone. I mean, that shows it that means 18% or 20% of the remittances are coming from the UAE. And by the way, the UAE exchange, which is one of the biggest companies in the UAE, is owned by an Indian. And so this is so there is, I would say that the soft power of India means like a large number of Emiratis. If you go there, you will find that I even understand Malayalam. Now, UAE is one country. When in Kerala there were those floods a couple of years ago, the UAE just came forward and started helping those people. So they consider it as a part of it. And until the 70s, if you remember, that a large number of these Emiratis used to come to India for medical treatments and others. So for them, it is like homecoming. Like Prime Minister says, I feel like I'm here as if at home. And so very similarly, they also have the same kind of feeling towards India. Indian culture, I mean, in UAE is virtually a small mini India that you can see there in every which way. And so there is a great respect. And I think this temple, or in which 27-acre land was gifted by Zayed, something which is a testament to the respect that they have for the Indian people. And very often,
Indeed,
the Indian diaspora is, they refer to the Indian diaspora as the great contributor to the development of the UAE. So I think that is a great tribute to our people's dedication, discipline, and,
Ambassador Trigunayat, as we're watching these visuals on our screens of PM Modi greeting the Indian diaspora at his hotel in Abu Dhabi, I'm struck by the fact that, and let's play those visuals again, if I can ask my colleague there. There you can see PM Modi meeting the Indian community upon his arrival at his hotel in Abu Dhabi just a few hours ago, after concluding his bilateral talks with Sheikh Zayed Al Nahyan, the President of the United Arab Emirates. And like I said before, we are standing by for the much anticipated Alan Modi event, his outreach to the Indian diaspora at the Sheikh Zayed Sports City Stadium in Abu Dhabi in just a bit. But as we stay on these visuals, Ambassador Trigunayat, I am struck by the fact that such events have become a hallmark, a trademark of sorts of PM Modi's foreign tours. We saw that in Madison Square Garden in New York City in 2014, September. And we saw that just most recently in May of last year, 2023, in Sydney, Australia, where Australia's Prime Minister Anthony Albanese described PM Modi as the boss, referring to a rock star, American rock star Bruce Springsteen's concert there. You think going forward, India can leverage this, the diaspora, the pride that they show in India, and India's changing profile, as it were, its image on the world stage, can be harnessed going forward?
Yes, I think that this is Prime Minister Modi has personally this tremendous capability of connecting with the masses, with the people, anyway, and leaders for that matter. And his reputation, his following on the social media and elsewhere just matches anyone else's. So this is what one sees, the way he talks, he connects, he brings about issues and puts them across. It is something really remarkable. And that he's a master, of course, politicians are supposed to be, but he's a unique politician in that regard. But the fact is that he has tried to bring energies and synergy of the Indian diaspora. They felt disconnected earlier. I mean, they were patched up efforts earlier. But this time, a significant thing where Prime Minister himself takes the lead, goes to the meets with them, and gives new ideas, exactly how they help their own countries of residence as well as India. For example, in the science and technology, R&D field, now there's a greater focus, exactly how to move forward in the domain of the technology, be it AI, be it quantum computing or others, and including getting them to come to India and feel it. And today, the Indians also, because India is growing, the third largest or fifth largest economy today, and the largest population, great talent pool and everything. So all that is telling all over the world. Everybody understands that until 2050, India will be in the lead for many of the initiatives that will take place. And this is what our diaspora is doing, these 35 million people abroad, and many of them in different countries, including the UK. You can see that earlier they were in different Caribbean and other countries, or Mauritius and others. But today, also, whether it is UK, even in Poland, in Portugal and in Ireland, the leaders of Indian origin. Now, that is something that shows. Even in the US, you have a number 2 lady, the vice president, who has some Indian roots. So these are the things that conveys. 25 top companies of the world today have Indians as their CEOs. So that's things have arrived on the scene. This everybody acknowledges. And then they acknowledge their expertise and their talent, which is what Prime Minister Modi is also trying to harness by bringing them, becoming stakeholders in India's progress.
Absolutely. Making the Indian diaspora a stakeholder, as Ambassador Trigunayat says, a stakeholder in India's progress as well. Ambassador, do stay on. We have lots more to discuss with you. Viewers, time for a very short break. Keep watching DD India.
Wherever news breaks, whatever it takes.
Connecting corners, cutting across continents.
Stories that matter from across the globe.
Accurate, authentic journalism that serves you right. From politics to glamour, from sports to world affairs, with a fusion of aesthetics and substance. Introducing news in a new avatar. Experience the world through a new lens. Stay tuned to DD India for an exciting journey beyond borders.
In a world that never stops, where information shapes our reality, one app stands out, helps you stay ahead of time. Introducing the DD India app, your gateway to a world of news right at your fingertips. Your most trusted source of news goes global, goes digital. Explore a world of options, top stories, live updates, in-depth analysis, and more. Stay informed wherever you are. Real-time alerts keep you ahead of the curve always. The DD India app, connecting you to the world one story at a time. Download now and explore the world of knowledge, insights, and authentic.
Welcome back. You're watching the continuous coverage of India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to the UAE. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. Now, PM Modi was welcomed in Abu Dhabi by the Indian community with much excitement and enthusiasm. DD India's Diplomat Mondal spoke to Sucheta Satish, a little girl who presented songs in 5 different languages to Prime Minister Modi. Listen in as she shares her excitement.
Narendra Modi was welcomed at Abu Dhabi with beautiful songs in different languages. And I'm joined by the singer who sang this song for the Prime Minister. And in how many languages did you sing the song?
I sang 5 different songs in 5 languages today, and 5 Indian languages covering the East, West, North, South and Hindi.
Well, I'm told that you are also a Guinness record holder and you sang the theme song for Alan Modi. And today the Prime Minister is in the UAE. He will be attending the Alan Modi event in a short while from now. How excited are you?
I'm really excited. In fact, this is one moment that I've been dreaming about and looking forward to from such a long time. And I'm really glad that this is, my dream come true. It's, it's actually coming true today. And I'm also super honored to say that I'm the one who sung the theme song of Alan Modi, Vishwamitra, which is composed by the Bollywood composer Sri Monty Sharma. And I'm truly delighted and honored to have had the opportunity today.
And were you nervous seeing the Prime Minister singing in different languages? Were you a little nervous?
Was I nervous? I mean, what I would say was just seeing him just filled me with a lot of motivation and inspiration, because I think he is a man of a great aura. Everybody would agree. And so it just felt really great to just be there and, sing my heart out.
Well, of course, we all enjoyed your song and performance here, along with the Prime Minister, who also I was seeing he was enjoying your performance. Thank you so much for talking to Doordarshan. And this is Diplomat Mondal from Abu Dhabi with cameraperson Ravinder for DD India.
So Prime Minister Narendra Modi will very shortly address the Indian diaspora at the Zayed Sports City in Abu Dhabi at the Alan Modi event. DD India's Meghna Dev spoke to members of the Indian community to give you a sneak peek into that event.
So the Zayed Sports City Stadium in Abu Dhabi, which will be hosting Alan Modi, will be witnessing mesmerizing cultural performances from a number of people from the diaspora who will bring the fervor, the tradition, the art and culture from their states. So I'll speak to a few of them to understand how the preparations are going on and what's the festivity like. So can you please tell us what are you performing, what are the preparations, and obviously the excitement that's very, very palpable here.
Excitement too high till sky. I am from Rajasthan team. I am leading Rajasthan team, and we are performing in procession. And our Rajasthani culture, Ghumar, we are showcasing here to world. And this is our small thank you to Modi ji and to India.
We are actually about 360 performers. We are from Dubai, different walks of life, and we are so thankful to the Consul General and to the entire team who has organized this.
We are a group of 32 dancers who are going to perform a semi-classical item. Our focus is going to be on non-stop India, the industrial growth in India. So really looking forward to the performance.
We are doing a Jugalbandi, the Indian classical form of South Indian dance, the Bharatanatyam and Kuchipudi and Mohiniyattam. So more than 42 people are presenting this to bring our Indian culture.
We are a team of 30 people and, showcasing the whole West Bengal, Calcutta. It was a huge honor for us. So you can see all my participants, they are so excited.
With my colleague Ashwini Mishra and camera person Pramod Negi, this is Meghna Dev for DD India from Abu Dhabi.
So clearly the Indian diaspora in the UAE is upbeat about Prime Minister Modi's visit. It'll be Prime Minister Modi's 7th visit to the UAE since 2015. And Indians living in the UAE's 7 Emirates say that they are eager to listen to him. Meghna Dev has more.
I'm here at the Zayed Sports City Stadium where Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be addressing a grand community event filled with people from the Indian diaspora.
We are proud because of the Modi to say we are Indians and Hindus, and also he bring the BAPS Hindu Mandir. This is going to be one of the marvelous castle for the country.
We should always thankful to the rulers and as well as Modi, because Modi follows only one principle, that is called Dharmo Rakshite Rakshitaha.
Having people of Indian origin in UAE is like a microcosm of India in UAE. We constitute the single largest community of Indians on the foreign shores. So grateful for the rulers of this country that they are now laying out the red carpet for our Prime Minister and acknowledging this Indo-UAE friendship on the world stage.
Since last 6 months or a year or so, I have seen many companies, many investors coming, and they are saying that, Sunil, can you give us a detail about company setup in India? So you can imagine what kind of response is there, what kind of image, economic image has been created by Mr. Modi.
Modi ji is the man of developing India, and he has proven everywhere around the globe.
Average Indian has found his Indianness, his Bhartiyaness in Modi ji.
As a travelers, as a tourist, they can pay in the rupee here. That is also a big achievement. The UPI payment is applicable here. It is accessible here.
You can see his achievements. His efforts, his achievements are exceptional. So definitely we are very excited.
Entire Indian diaspora here in the UAE, the reactions speak for themselves. The reactions actually speak for what the emotions are for the last lap of preparations that are going on here at the stadium in Abu Dhabi with camera person Pramod Negi and my colleague Ashwini Mishra. This is Meghna Dev for DD India from Abu Dhabi.
Right, so we are just a few minutes away from that much anticipated Ahlan Modi event in Abu Dhabi, where Prime Minister Modi will be addressing the Indian diaspora who have gathered there in large numbers, in thousands we are told. Let me take a moment to welcome back Ambassador Anil Kumar Trigunayat on this special broadcast. Ambassador Trigunayat, thank you for your patience. Good to have you back on in this discussion. Now, like I said, we are just moments away from that Ahlan Modi event in Abu Dhabi. If I may ask you, since you have served in the region as well, how has the perception of India under Narendra Modi changed in the last decade, given India's economic rise, economic growth, and also political stability?
Well, as you know that this is something, all the three factors that you mentioned are extremely important for any country. While it is wading across the global geopolitics or the international landscape. And the community, even though earlier also they used to connect with India, although feel proud of India, but at the same time I thought that there was much of a thing more regionalized way. But today what the Indian thinks and Prime Minister Modi is as a symbol essentially of India, a strong India, a developing India, an India that is willing to be a developed nation by 2047, the fastest growing economy and great opportunity. And when they see it connected in a very special way and great regard given by the local leadership for your leader, then I think that it multiplies it manifold. And what Prime Minister Modi has done, the diaspora diplomacy, which is, in my view, is one of the very strong arms of the Indian diplomacy, or it in West Asia. I think that this is something that is very important, and he is personally connected with them. You have heard so many people commenting, everybody is having as if they have a personal connect with Prime Minister Modi, and everybody looks to talk to him, meet with him, and he comes across as a man of the people there. And that's what really makes a leader grow and reflect the opportunities in the country. Because Modi ji always says that I'm speaking on behalf of 1.4 billion Indians, and that is something that is what everybody connects with it, and he invites them. I mean, I must say something to the credit of the community which is there in West Asia is they are truly invested in India. Whatever remittances they make, $50–60 billion in India, stays here, compared to many other countries where we have a diaspora which likes to put the money for interest purposes or something like that. But this is something very important. And this is nearly 1/10 of your foreign exchange and total foreign exchange in India, which is why this is also very equally important for us that the region remains stable and we find greater opportunities. Like recently, a new program has been launched by the government called Priyas, and looking for opportunities for Indians in different countries. They are being invited by several of the other countries in Europe and elsewhere. And so this talent pool of India is going to drive the progress in that. And I think to that, a great credit must go to this government.
Absolutely. Ambassador Trigunayat, while we are standing by for the Ahlan Modi event in Abu Dhabi, let me take a moment to reflect a bit more, if you will, on the diaspora, the Indian diaspora in the UAE. I'm sure the introduction or the agreements between India and the UAE on UPI, the Unified Payments Interface, and the RuPay credit and debit cards will go a long way in helping the diaspora in particular, because they can now pay in Indian currency, the rupee. They need not convert their currency into dollars or any other currency, and they need not carry, cash, dollars or any other currency in cash as well. So this will actually be of immense help to the Indians living in the UAE, isn't it?
Yes, that actually it's very interesting. Now, after 32 years, we can see that until 71, Indian rupee was the legal tender in these countries.
Indeed.
And, now it's come back that now it's freely exchangeable, freely usable. And I think the UAE is a model for this kind of a thing that is happening. Under this government, Prime Minister Modi has launched this UPI as a major flagship program. I mean, in France also at the Eiffel Tower, you can use your UPI and pay in rupees, as President Macron did here to buy some tea at the tea stall in India when he was here. So I think that is something that is remarkable. And now they signed an agreement with about 20–21 countries on UPI, and is emerging as a new, since this weaponization of the financial instruments happened during this Russia-Ukraine, I think that there is a very logical effort by the countries to make it, which reduces the transaction costs. For example, the Indians are remitting so much money, so there will be no transaction cost in that sense, or very little transaction cost that will be there, so they will not lose money. Plus, the people who are traveling from here, they will be very easily able to do anything. They don't have to change into dollars and to reals and to other currencies. And so that is something, I think, the ease of travel, ease of investment, ease of trade, all this is increasing significantly. Between India and UAE, we have started paying for oil in rupees. So it's a rupee real thing that has agreed. So I think that this is a dirham, which is a very important in development. And I think this fintech is going to also lead to a very different direction, as I perceive.
Absolutely. While we are just moments away from the Ahlan Modi event to begin in Abu Dhabi, Ambassador Trigunayat, if I may follow up on that last question, we discussed about the India-UAE ties in general, encompassing various sectors like trade, investment, people-to-people ties, energy security, and so on. Education is emerging as another important pillar of late. I speak this in the context of the IIT Delhi campus being set up in the UAE and offering courses in, in high technology areas. So how do you look at this new, pillar, as it were, in India-UAE ties, education?
You know, there are a very large number of Indian schools which are there for a long time. Then there are some of the Indian private universities also, like the MIT and others. They have their campuses. IIT campus is a major thing, which has been it bound. Many of these things, because everybody tries to move forward, and the IITs hold a pride of place in all over the world, frankly, in that sense. So having those campuses forward in your technological domain, I think that that is a very important thing that we would need to really work on, and that's a very good thing. Secondly, there are now a number of Western universities which are located in UAE. Recently, we have had an agreement with the ICCR and I think the New York State University, which has a campus in Abu Dhabi. And so they are becoming their opening campuses. India is also opening up now foreign universities, are making it much more easier for them to operate. And I think that this is going to be a new area of collaboration. And as you know, there are 3.5 million Indians, and they're going to go further. So their children are going to be there, and they need better education. So I think good. Plus, a lot of Indians are going from here to UAE also to study in various universities and just there to secure the degree at much less cost.
Indeed. I want to go back to something that you said in the previous segment, Ambassador Trigunayat. You referred to the success of India's West Asia policy, how Indian foreign policy has handled ties, contradictions very deftly and nimbly, be it Saudi Arabia-Iran issue or the Iran-Israel issue or even Israel-Palestinian issue. So looking at the, India's outreach, as it were, to West Asia, how would you describe the evolving relationship with the UAE, in particular in new frontier areas such as artificial intelligence or even green energy? UAE recently hosted the COP28 as well.
Yeah, the thing is that the new areas are emerging because the UAE is also expanding its horizons, right, diversifying its economy. For example, renewable energy, green hydrogen, blue hydrogen. It is also, in that sense, moving into the digital corridor, logical. I mean, in that, U2 also plays a very great role. While bilaterally we are working in very close formats. So I think that this is leveraging each other's strengths and synergizing them in order to move forward, having tri-country projects maybe in Africa, which are for everybody's advantage. And I think that is the way in which the Indian government has tried to promote the new areas. And we have seen several robotics, DPIs, technology, new technologies. So all these agreements are being signed already. I mean, I can't even remember. I think there are more than 100 plus agreements and institutional mechanisms that have been created between India and the UAE, and they are now fructifying. For example, the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, signed barely a year ago, has already yielded tremendous dividends. So new instruments are already plugging into delivering the greater public goods for both sides.
Absolutely. Ambassador Trigunayat, do stay on. We want to inform our viewers that we are just moments away from the much anticipated Airline Modi event in Abu Dhabi, where Prime Minister Modi will deliver a speech to the Indian diaspora.